come out on a Sunday afternoon. And there are so many other things you can be doing with your time. One thing is clear to me. We are all here for the same reason. We love our country and are prepared to fight for the best. And I could not be more thankful for the generosity of your time and your spirit. So, it was literally 7 weeks ago today that we announced our campaign in my hometown of Oakland, California. And it's been an extraordinary process. It has been a process of traveling our great country and talking with folks. It has been about really the goal of our campaign, because let me just be really clear with everybody. I fully intend to win this campaign. But a metric of our success will also be that at the end of this process, that we are relevant. So this is a process that is about listening as much as it is about talking. It is about traveling around our country and engaging and being with folks. And I cannot thank you enough for being here this afternoon. So since we started this campaign, people have been asking me, why are you running? So there are a number of reasons. And one of them is I do believe that this is a moment in time that is an inflection moment in the history of our country. This is a moment in time that is requiring us each and collectively to look in the mirror and ask a question. That question being, who are we? And I believe part of the answer to that question is, we are better than this. So I decided to run for president of the United States. Mischaracterization of truth. There's that piece of it, but there's another piece of it, which is this. Traveling our country, I can tell you what you already know. There are a lot of folks in our country right now who are extremely distrustful of our government, its institutions, and leaders. And the thing about a relationship of trust is that the nature of a relationship of trust is such that it is a reciprocal relationship, right? You give and you receive trust. And one of the most important ingredients in trust If Charlottesville didn't make it clear, if the Tree of Life Synagogue did not make it clear, racism, anti-Semitism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia are real in this country, and they are an expression of hate. Exploit the source of hate. Let's speak that truth. Let's speak the truth. The economy of America is not working for working people. Let's speak that truth. Well, in America today, for almost half of American families cannot afford a $400 unexpected expense. Almost half of American families cannot afford a $400 unexpected expense. That could be the car breaking down. That could be an unexpected hospital bill. In America today, in 99% of the counties in our country, if you are a minimum wage worker working full-time, you cannot afford market rate for a one-bedroom apartment. That's the truth about America today. Last year, as a matter of fact, 12 million Americans took out on average a $400 loan from the payday lender at an interest rate often of over 300%. These are the truths about America today, which is why I am proposing what economists have described as what would be the most significant middle-class tax cut in generations. What I am proposing is that for families that are making less than $100,000 a year, you receive a tax credit of up to $6,000 a year that you can collect at up to $500 a month. All the difference between being able to get through the end of the month and not. And then you know how folks are. People say, well, how you gonna pay for that? I'm gonna tell you how we'll pay for it. We're gonna repeal that tax bill today. Let's speak truth. Let's speak truth. We are a society that pretends to care about education, but not so much the education of other people's children. Let's speak that truth. Let's speak that truth. So I've been traveling, like I said, I've been meeting with folks, I've been meeting with all kinds of teachers all over our country. And I can't tell you how many teachers I've met with that are working 2 jobs sometimes to pay the bills, to put food on the table, and because over 90% of the teachers in our country are coming out of their own pocket to pay for school supplies. Now, true personal story, my first grade teacher, Mrs. Frances Wilson, God rest her soul, attended my law school graduation. I think most of us know that any success we have achieved was in part and in great part because of the teachers that believed in us and invested in us. In fact, I believe there are 2 groups of people that are raising our children: parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and our teachers. And it is time we pay our teachers their value. than investing in that child's education. And the people who will be implementing that education are our teachers. Let's pay that. So what I am proposing is something we've not seen from a president since LBJ. What I'm proposing is what will be the largest federal investment in closing the teacher pay gap, which at this point is a gap that means that our teachers are on average receiving 10 or more percent less than other college graduates in pay, and we need to close that gap to invest in our collective future. Let's speak truth. Climate change is real. Elementary school, middle school, high school, and those parents will ask their children, "How was your day, darling?" And the child will say, "Well, it was a difficult day." "Why is that?" "Well, we had a drill today at school." "Well, what did that drill involve?" "It involved us learning that we needed to go run and hide in a closet." "Why, Mommy and Daddy, did we have to learn to do that?" "Well, because they said something about it might be because there'll be a mass gunman roaming the streets of our school and roaming the halls of our school." "Why, Mommy and Daddy, must we go through that?" And those parents have to then look at that child and say, "Well, it's because supposed leaders in Washington, D.C. have failed to have the courage to reject people in Washington, D.C., supposed leaders have failed to have the courage to understand. I'm fine with everybody going hunting who wants to go hunting, but we also must have the courage to have reasonable gun safety laws, including universal background checks. Let's speak truth. In America today, there are parents who sit down with their son when he turns 12 years old to have the talk. A conversation wherein those parents say, "Son, you may be stopped, you may be arrested, you may be chased, you may may be shocked because of the color of your skin. Let's speak that truth so we can get to a point that the young men of America do not have to live in fear that they will be singled out. Let's speak truth on some of the current topics of the day. Let's speak truth that the American public deserves transparency and accountability. And the Attorney General of the United States must be required to come and testify before Congress. Let's speak truth. And let's speak what I believe, especially now, is one of the most fundamental and important truths that must be spoken. In particular, when there are so many powerful voices that are right now trying to sow hate and division among us. And that truth is this: the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. Speak that truth in a way that it comes from our hearts, from our soul, from our mind. Let's know that truth. Let that fuel us. Let us know that truth based on what I call the middle of the night thought. You know, some people call it the 3 in the morning thought. Other people call that moment the witching hour. You know what I'm talking about. When you wake up in the middle of the night with that thing that's been weighing on you, sometimes in a cold sweat. Well, for the vast majority of us, when we wake up thinking that thought, it is never through the lens of the party in which we're registered to vote. For the vast majority of us, when we wake up thinking that thought, it is never through the lens of some demographic of posturalism. And for the vast majority of us, when we wake up thinking that thought, it has to do with one of just a very few things: our personal health, the health of our children, our parents. For so many Americans, can I get a job, keep a job, pay the bills by the end of the month, retire with dignity? For our students, can I pay off those student loans? For so many people in our country, can I help my family member get off their opioid addiction? The vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. And so, Atlanta, what I say is this: as we march toward 2020, let's not buy what people are trying to sell us when they're trying to get us to point fingers at each other. Let's not buy that. Let's reject that. As we march toward 2020, let's do it with a spirit that recognizes that part of the strength of who we are as a nation, part of our culture, is we are an aspirational nation. We are an aspirational people. We are a nation that was founded on noble ideals. Those ideals that were present when we wrote the Constitution of the United States and all of its amendments, and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, and those words we spoke in 1776, that we are all and should be treated that way. We are aspirational by nature. We are also clear-eyed. We've not yet met those ideals. But our strength is that we're fighting to get there. Let's not give that up. We are a nation full of incredible people who are dedicated to our future. And so in this inflection moment, let's remember, it will pass. This inflection moment will pass. We'll get beyond this. And years from now, our children, our grandchildren, others, they're going to look in our eyes, each one of us, and they will ask us, where were you at that inflection moment? And what we're going to be able to say was, well, there was a Sunday afternoon at Morehouse. And what we are going to also say when they ask us about this moment in time is we will tell them more than just how we felt. We will tell them what we did. We